The following program contains names, places, and events that have been anonymized or fictionalized for the purposes of protection and safety. The following program is provided for entertainment purposes only, and any commentary from the hosts are strictly conjecture and should not be held as making any definitive statements about the truth or identity of any particular individuals or circumstances. If you or a loved one are involved in an abusive relationship, please call the National Domestic Violence Hotline at 1-800-799-7233 for support.
Hi, Hannah!
We're back. Hi, Mackenzie.
Girl, okay, so Mondays are usually like, for people, right? But today is a special Monday because we're finally back from our break. Is everyone excited?
I'm so excited. We're sorry about the break. I hope it was okay for everybody, but we have a really great episode today. We're just so excited to get back into it.
Yeah, we missed you, first of all. Second of all, thank you for hanging tight with us and connecting with us on our socials and just staying in touch with us. So just to make up for the break, we are bringing you a double whammy today because we have two women who are going to be on the show together telling parallel stories. And so it's a wild ride.
It is. We loved the Audi episode with Mr. Audi, Fuck Fast. Shout out to Fuck Fast fam. Not Mr. Audi, but shout out to the women that were there. Not sponsored by Audi. If you haven't listened, go back and listen. But the women on that episode had developed a friendship after what they'd been through. So we liked the idea of continuing that kind of community support with these stories. So we wanted two people who had been through something similar, but they don't know each other, to share their stories and see if they could, come together and know that they're not alone. So that's what we got, y'all.
Y'all. Oh no, I'm bringing you to I'm bringing the Florida to the Los Angeles. She said y'all.
I love y'all.
It's one of my favorite 4-letter words.
I would love to sound like Mackenzie by the end of this. I'm going to work on my Southern accent a little bit.
You should hear me when I get angry or super hyped up and then the Southern really comes out. So, okay, we need to get into it. Are you ready to hear? I'm ready to go. I'm ready to go.
Let's
okay, guys,
let's
get into it. Hey, Caroline.
Hey there. Good morning.
Good morning. It's so nice to meet you. And we're so glad to have you on the podcast. The dating detectives are so excited to hear your story, but I don't know if it's excited in a good way. So
we're grateful. We're grateful. We'll say that.
Yeah. Thank you, Hannah. Okay, Caroline, take us away. Let's see what we got.
So I had been working with John for a couple of years. He was my direct superior. And during our time that we worked together, everything was super professional. We all got along. I did leave to pursue another adventure. I was given a great opportunity. And so when that opportunity had completed, I was looking to start up on a new project and needed a letter of reference. So I called John, my past boss. Who better? And I say, hey, listen, I'm looking for a new position. Could you write a letter of recommendation for me? He said, absolutely. So we get to talking a little bit and he tells me that he is going through a separation. And it was the saddest thing because his kids. And so we talked through it and he said, I remember when you went through your divorce, you made sure that for all that was going on with the adults, you kept it easy for the kids. I said, yeah, thank you. I appreciate you remembering that. And he said, I'd really like to make that happen for my kids as well. And I said, well, gosh, however I can help because I'm a fixer. I want to fix everything. He said, can I call you back and talk more about the kids if it comes down? Absolutely. You call me anytime. So this starts, we talk every other week, then every week, and then every few days. And we start building this relationship because he's a really fun, charismatic person. So we decided that it would be good for us to meet. So I said, come on down to Charlotte where I lived. And he did and stayed in a hotel and we went out to dinner a couple of times. And I got to be honest, it really just clicked. And so time went by and I had a regimen with the kids every other weekend with their dad. So he went to his attorney and got his custody during the separation changed to the same weekends. So he does all this. Again, we're traveling fabulous places. He is kind. He is generous. We see each other every other weekend. In fact, to the point we got an apartment together in DC because it's kind of in between where we were.
So a year living together, yes?
No, because I still worked down in Charlotte and he still had his big time job where he lived.
Okay.
And so we would go every other weekend. We were meeting in DC.
So you
right?
had an apartment together that you got to connect with, that you got to connect at whenever you could.
Yeah. I could take an easy flight. He could take the train. And so we get this place in DC. There's lots of things that happen, but let's get down to why we're here. So we were looking for a new place in DC and we were looking online, my head over his shoulder, and he always kept his phone on his knee, but it was generally face down. Well, this time it just happened to be face up. And all of a sudden I see a pop up and it says, "Good morning, MTL." You mean my true love?
No, shut
That's
up.
our
shut
statement.
Up.
That was our thing. "Good morning, MTL." And I stood up and I was like, "You have to explain everything to me." He's like, "I just have to go to the bathroom. I don't feel well." I bet you don't feel well.
I hate that.
So he runs to the bathroom. 10 minutes later, hands me his phone. He says, "You can look at everything."
Oh, thank you so much. Thank you. Thank you for that concession. Thank you.
Oh, that's
He's like done a hard reset. Everything's gone.
He went to the Apple store really quick and just got a new one.
He called tech support. Like, what? So wait, okay. So hold on. So everything's fine. And then how long?
Oh, it's beautiful.
How long had you guys been seeing each other up to that point?
A year and a half.
Okay,
Wow.
so a year and a half, everything's great. You're on the same custody schedule. You guys are enjoying each other's company.
And you fit very well into each other's lives, it sounds like. Like it was almost the perfect thing you needed.
It was. And I'll tell you that I am, because I'm a fixer and I just been through this whole divorce gig, he would say, "Well, maybe it's time you meet my girls." Absolutely not. I should not meet those girls until you were fully divorced. I drew him a roadmap of how to get away with all this. So in the interim, he had met my friends, my coworkers. He met my kids, my ex-husband. So all of this comes to a head. And he says, "I'm really sorry. This is someone I used to work with. And I was just about to go see her."
Wait. Okay, so a year and a half you're together. You're meeting up when you can on the weekends when you have this apartment together. And then you see on his phone MTL, which is not a common statement. Like that's not like 143 on the beepers. You should be like, "I love you." Do you remember that, Hannah? No, you're too young. But okay, so you might have read. So when we had a beeper, you would type in like 143. That means "I love you."
I'm going to start sending you 143, Mackenzie.
Okay. And he says, "This is someone I used to work with. I was just going to go see her. No big deal."
Oh no! I mean, he kind of copped to it. This is somebody I used to have a relationship with, and we've been talking again. And I flew home immediately and was like, "Be done." About a week goes by. He gets back in touch, and he has gone into therapy because he knows what he has done is wrong. And could I please forgive him and know that he's working with Dr. Fill in the blank? Don't even know. I did Google him, and he was a psychiatrist. Well, fast forward, I decide, fine, you're going to see Dr. whomever, and hopefully this will help you. We patched it up because he was seeking help. And so a little bit of time goes by and he was headed to this little tiny town with his kids. And I knew he was a Marriott guy. And so I decided to call. And I said, "Put me through to John's room, please." And ring, ring. And this woman's voice answers. And I said, "Could I please speak with John?" And she said, "Who is this?" And I said,
"What?
Could I please speak with John?" And she puts him on the phone.
Oh.
And I go, "What in the world is going on?" And he goes, "You have the wrong number." Hangs up. I text, right? I'm like, can't get those fingers going fast enough. I'm like, "What in the world is going on?" He's like, "I am here with my wife and family, and you're going to have to leave us alone."
What? Wait, hold on. I need a time. Before the hotel call, how long had it been since you guys connected?
Oh, so this would have been just another 2 months.
So 2 months after you found this MTL on his phone, that's when the hotel thing happened?
Right.
Oh, what?
So let me break it down for you.
Yes.
He was cheating on his wife with me and was cheating on me with MTL.
So there was, okay, so I wasn't sure.
There was an actual
his wife.
MTL? I thought MTL was like his wife. He was saying, "Oh, it's just an ex." But so there's three women. Oh boy, that's a triangle.
Where does he have the time?
Girl, I don't know. I can't figure it out.
So during the year and a half that you were with him before the MTL discovery, was there anything suspicious? Did any red flags, anything like that? Like it was just like all willy-nilly, like everything is just fine. We're doing great. Nothing stood out.
I kid you not. Nothing stood out. When I think back on it, it's certainly a psychopathy of sorts because literally never caught in a lie. And there were so many lies. And I am not an unintelligent person.
Obviously.
No, this has nothing. Let's just make it clear for you and our listeners. Like, this has nothing to do with intelligence. This is not your fault. This is being bamboozled by someone has nothing to do with intelligence at all whatsoever. He took advantage of you. He's cheated on you. He's cheated on his wife. Like, oh my God.
When you're in a situation like this, I'm like, look what I've done to a family.
Oh,
but I haven't, right? I'm better in that headspace now. But dear God, at the time, it was bone crushing.
Do you have any relationship with his wife, or like what happened when it blew up?
She did eventually get in touch with me, and I said, I will have a phone call with you. I want to validate things that may be question marks in your head. I want to be here in order to make you feel sane.
But also you want to protect yourself from you don't know her, and you never know.
When we got on the phone, boy, did she have questions. One time she said he was sitting in the den on a Friday afternoon, and he got a phone call and said, I have to go to London for work, and walked out the door with a suitcase.
What?
She said, was he in London? No, he was not in London for the 4th of July weekend.
Oh my God. So when you called Marriott, like there was no suspicion at all? Like, or was there maybe a little bit?
There was, because remember, this was after the whole MTL debacle.
Right.
And so I didn't take everything at face value.
Well, you trusted your femtuition to give him a call. So glad that
worked out.
Thank you.
And, I think that there's a lot of stigma that comes with doing your own investigation. A lot of people will use that to say, oh, she looked into me. She tried to find me. She's a psycho. And can we just chalk that up to being incredibly smart? Like, hello, we are innately like investigative as women. So,
and
like,
we have to be.
Can't we just give us a little bit of credit? Yes. Like, this is self-preservation. Like, of course. Is she psycho or is she just a little smarter than you? One more question. Do you know if he was really in therapy for the cheating, or was that not real?
Oh, no.
I didn't think so, but I had to be sure.
I have more questions too, but I kind of want to wait until we hear the other story because I'm sure there will be overlap in these questions.
Oh, probably.
All right, Kelly, take it away.
All right. So I was on a girls' trip with one of my best friends. We went to Dallas for a concert. And while we were down there at a bar, we ran into these guys who worked on the pipeline. So they were traveling for work but usually stayed in that area for long periods of time. So they had apartments and things like that down there and kind of moved their lives all around the country. But we met these group of guys. One of my friends was talking to one of them, and I was just kind of doing my own thing. The guy my friend was talking to introduced me to one of his friends, and then you could tell they were all kind of drunk, and we had all been drinking all day. But he was really flirty with me, and then he ended up giving me his number, and we texted a little bit. They left the bar, but we stayed, and then they invited us over to their apartment that was right down the street. So we walked down there to wait for our Uber to go home and just hung out with them all night and had a good time. It was just kind of flirty, never really like crossing the line or doing anything. But we went back to our hotel, and then the next morning, this guy texts me good morning and is like, hey, I want to take you to brunch. So I go to brunch with him. We hang out the whole rest of the weekend. It was our first night. We still had like 4 days left. So we hung out the rest of the time, like just not really like kissing or anything like that, just like holding hands and like being very like touchy-feely and flirting.
I just got Mackenzie knows I'm a romantic, and I like almost forgot where this story was going for a second because I was like, a good morning text, brunch. Like, this sounds delightful. I would have been right with you, Kelly.
Girl that like if you were trying to sleep with me the first night you meet me, then it's just a total turn off. So he was just like really pulling at my heartstrings. I was like, this guy is like actually really quiet and just kind of shy and like the good boy. And that's what I never go for. And I was like, I'm getting a little bit older and want to settle down. So really, he was very appealing to me in that sense. So, and he also was a little bit older than me, which also was nice. So I was like, oh, he's older, more mature. I was 27 and he was 32. So I feel like he was going to be, definitely going to be
difference. Easy for the
more
32-year-olds to woo us. I'm right around there myself. This is a good, I'm going to take some notes because so far I would have fallen for this man. Continue.
So we hung out the whole rest of the weekend and I left. We continued to talk. We did end up kissing by the end of the weekend on the last night, and that was pretty much it. We went our separate ways, but he was like, I really still want to keep talking to you. So we continued to talk for a couple more weeks. A couple weeks into texting after I went back home, he was like, you should come down and visit again. And Dallas is fun. So I said, heck yeah, I'll definitely take a free place to stay. And he was like, I will pay for your transportation to get here, like all of that stuff. So I'm like, okay. But I didn't feel comfortable going by myself because I had really only known him for like 4 days. So I took my friend back with me. And we had a really great time again and just spent the whole weekend together, hanging out and go back home. And actually, that time that I was there, he asked me to be his girlfriend at that point. We'd been talking at this point for a month and a half. And I'm like, okay, not really big into the long distance thing, but why not?
He's sweet.
Yeah.
He's nice. He flew me down here.
So I continued to go down there every other weekend. And then I went down there and stayed for a whole week with him and took my dog down there and just had, like, he was cooking me dinner. It was just very, like, normal relationship.
Wait, can I clarify something really quick? You said he has, like, this group of guys have apartments in Dallas, but he's not
Correct.
based in Dallas full time?
Yeah.
Okay, so he's coming into Dallas.
He lived in South Carolina. He was in Dallas for work. His work paid for his apartment, and he was only there for like 6 months at a time, and then he would travel to a different place for another job site. So I was going to visit him in Dallas. He was only there for like 6 months, and then he started making all these excuses like, we were going to go to a concert in Dallas on Valentine's Day. And then, like, the week before, he's like, oh, no, I have to go somewhere else for work. And so, just like a lot of like excuses kept coming up. And I got a little suspicious. And I ended up looking up a phone number that I had from him online. And I found his first name, which was Joseph, but the last name that he had given me was different than the name that was on the phone number lookup. So, yeah. So he.
What? Like, you're just finding this on the Google machine all willy-nilly?
On Been Verified. So I paid for it. Yeah.
Oh, yeah. Okay.
We love Been Verified.
So,
for real.
because Been Verified is actually kind of legit. So, Been Verified is a public record, right? But a lot of people, it's public record all in one place. So, although you can probably obtain that somewhere legally, like just all willy-nilly, like you don't have to be a PI, a licensed PI or whatever. But it really does for a very small charge. Like, you don't have to pay very much, and it'll give you the basics that you need to know to really start to dig into someone. And then if those inquisitions start to get a little bit bigger, then maybe invest in a PI. But if you want to pay a couple dollars for Been Verified, I'm about that life.
I'm no stranger to catfish or like anything like that. So I knew that he obviously was who he I assumed he was who he said he was because I met him in person. I didn't meet him online. I didn't have any reason not to believe that.
Yeah, everybody had. And I would also like to clarify, that's the difference between dogfish and catfish. That's why we coined the term dogfish, because the catfish is like, maybe they're not who they say they are, but this is really this person, like in person, this is who he says he is, but the information that he's given is all a lie. So it's totally like kind of backwards.
Or maybe what he's doing in the weeks in between every other week is not
It's
what he
all
says he's doing.
Yeah.
So I gave that last name a Google or a Facebook search, and sure enough, there he is on his Facebook with a picture,
No! With
his picture with his wife, and holding a sonogram picture. Yep.
Shut up!
Yes.
Oh my God. So they're pregnant. What did you look back on that you thought was weird?
So looking back at it, he had given me a fake last name. He had told me that his last name was Phillips, and that was never his last name. So I tried to look back and think like, okay, did I ever see anything like with his last name on it? And I remember distinctly meeting one of his friends that he worked with, and we went to dinner. And as Joseph gets up to go to the bathroom, I'm sitting there with his friend, and his friend says, "So you and Joseph Phillips, huh?" And so he said
the other name,
Joseph Phillips. Yeah.
So he confirmed the last. So the friend was really in on it.
So the friend was like covering up for him the whole time. Yeah. So then now looking back at the timeline of it, I met him the end of August. He got married September 8th. And then I went back down there September 20th.
Oh my God.
Wait, timeout, offsides, too many players on the field. So, okay. I have so many. Okay. So hold on. He's at the job site. I'm glad I can clearly express my feelings like the bird.
Yeah.
So he's on this job site, right? And then he meets you and he's like, "Oh, I like this girl." And then like the next weekend he goes home and gets married. And then the next weekend he's back at the job site.
So he was like,
what?
So he was talking to me the whole entire time. Like he was sending me like inappropriate pictures on his bachelorette or his bachelor party. Yes.
What?
With all of his little co-conspirators who are all probably with cheating too. All of his friends are probably
in a little. Did he text you on his wedding day?
Yes.
No, shut up.
This to me is so clear that this guy like got off on that power. What? He needed to feel like he could do anything and get away with anything.
No.
So what happened when you found out?
Yeah, so I found out.
Thanks for reeling it back in, Hannah, because I'm over here in love.
No, I want all of it. But I just need to hear what, like, did we confront? Like, because this to me is
so I did confront him, and he said that picture was his ex-wife, which he had been married before. And I was like, "So you're having a baby with your ex-wife?" And he was like, "No." I was like, "Okay, so then it's your current wife." And he just kept saying, "I know I effed up. I know I effed up." And I was just like, "Okay, so you said that you loved me." And then he said, "I did love you." I'm like, what?
Oh, well,
and I'm
okay.
Like,
pardon me.
So what did you think was going to happen?
He's like, "I loved you until you started confronting me about this, you crazy girl. You're the problem now."
He just kept saying, "I effed up and I'm sorry." Actually, no, I don't even think he ever said I'm sorry. No. So that was pretty much like the conversation. And then I told him that he needed to send me $1,000 or I was going to make sure that everybody in his family knew what a POS he was.
What? Wait, you can't blackmail people, Kelly. Oh my God.
Okay, she's like, "You can't blackmail people." I'm like, "Honey, you're worth more. You should ask for more."
She's kidding. She's
I'm
totally
kidding. Totally kidding.
She's joking, you guys.
I had actually had like a whole like Christmas present thing that like I was gonna send him, and I had like recently been on a trip, bought him stuff, and then just driving down like back and forth, I was like, I need you to like reimburse me for all of that money that I've paid. And yeah, so
did he pay you?
He paid.
Yes, I'm sorry. I just want to clarify. She did not blackmail him, and he did not participate in blackmail. Yeah. He reimbursed her for the money that she put out for his bullshit shenanigans. That is what that is, boo boo. Go ahead.
So he reimbursed me for the money, and I then messaged his wife on Facebook. So
good.
She got that bag back, and then she just okay. So go ahead.
So I messaged her on Facebook. She actually, unfortunately, I don't know if she ever read it. She never responded. And I didn't really go into detail. I just said, hey, I'm really not trying to cause drama, but like if I was you, then I would want to know. So I just told her that I met him out of town, and we have been having a physical/emotional affair for the last year. If you want receipts, I'll be happy to give them to you. I had everything ready to send her if she wanted it, but she never messaged me back. And I think that...
Do you know if she read it?
I don't know, because we weren't friends on Facebook, so I couldn't see if she even read it or not.
Oh.
So I don't know if she ever found out or knows at all, but I'm just glad that that's not me. They're so married. So if she did know, then I don't think she cared.
Oh, man.
Oh, my gosh. I'm so sorry that happened to you. Okay, so we've heard your story now, Kelly. Thank you for sharing. So now Kelly and Caroline both have heard each other's stories. What are the similarities, the differences? What did you find that was connected to your story? Like what came up for you in hearing the other one's story?
Yeah, so much of what Kelly was saying was resonating with me and bringing up other things. Boy, it's like there must be a boys' school they go to where they learn these tricks.
So Caroline, so the social media thing is something I wanted to ask about you, Caroline, too. Like, what is your social media presence? What was his social media presence?
Yeah, no social media presence, only LinkedIn. And there was no social media presence. There was none.
When we first had started talking, he did tell me he didn't have any social media or anything like that, which at the time I was like, okay, he's 32. He's a little bit older than me. I feel like social media kind of like was peak when...
That's like a hot thing to hear. When we're dating now, I feel like when someone's like, oh, I'm not really into Instagram, especially in LA, I'm like, what? So you thought he didn't have social media, but then when you got his real name, sure enough, he was on Facebook. He just didn't have a fake Facebook. He didn't have a Finsta for his dogfish persona.
Yeah.
It's the funny thing, because I don't want to be like, everyone has to be on social media and put their whole life out on display so that everyone knows that you're not cheating. But it's just having some kind of, I just think that it's becoming more and more important that we can verify people online. And it does make it harder to get away with this kind of stuff. So I'm not saying that every single person that doesn't use Facebook is cheating, but I don't know. It's just like,
it's a nice system of checks and balances.
It's so uncommon in this day and age not to be on social media. So when someone says they're not on social media, that puts up a red flag in our brain. Like, wait, you're not? Like, that's weird.
We'll make it a red flag. It's not an always, you're not always cheating if you're not on social media. But unfortunately, in this day and age, if you're not on social, you might have to like show some receipts.
I remember when I was dating, when I first became a private investigator, I was dating. And if like we didn't have as the social media that we do now, but as soon as they heard that I was a PI, they were like, yeah, I gotta go, see ya. Like they were out, and it was almost like weird. Like they didn't want to be looked up. They didn't want, and that's fine. Like people can be private or whatever, but also like it's just not how it is anymore, dude. Like it's just not. Sorry. Like, you know, trust but verify. You know what I mean?
Trust but verify. I love that.
Were there any red flags that you saw in the other story that you related to in your story?
Looking back, I don't remember any like big red flags, except one time I did grab his phone out of his hand, and I was just like, we were just playing around and like joking, and I grabbed it to like look at the menu because he wouldn't let me look at the menu on his phone, and he grabbed it like really quickly from me. And the only other thing was when we first started, the first phone number he gave me, he told me like a week later that he was getting rid of that phone because work paid for him to have a phone. And so he didn't need to pay for his own phone. But I didn't really think anything of it at the time because he originally had given me his real, like his personal phone number. So the whole time after that week, we were just communicating on his work phone. Yeah.
But wait, was the second phone, like, did he go get a whole nother second phone?
No, his work really did give him a phone, or like he had a work phone that they paid for. So he was just communicating with me on his work phone, but he had a separate phone as well.
The telephone thing resounded with me because a very similar thing happened. I think maybe the heat was turning up a little bit further north than where I was, and so a new phone appeared. And so it was couched very similarly that I want to keep this other phone open for you and me and my kids, and the other one's going to be more work and outward facing. I was like, okay.
So Caroline, he went and got a specific phone, like a specific extra phone. Oh my gosh.
What are they getting out of this? I'm sure you both have thought about this a lot.
I have. And I brought it down to dopamine. It's almost like a drug. And he needed more pressure. He needed more higher, much higher stakes and so on, because it just wasn't enough. There wasn't enough hit, almost getting caught. Big hit. Boy, that felt good. And then you just go for the bigger hit and the bigger hit.
That's interesting you bring that up because the same thing happens with like, and if you're an expert in this, please let me know if there's like the same thing with like shoplifters. Even people that they're like, why would you shoplift? Like, you can afford it. And they're like, no, it's the rush. It's the rush of like, oh my gosh, am I going to get caught this time? What do you think, Kelly?
Yeah, I think for him, it definitely was like a narcissistic personality kind of trait for sure. I feel like he was just kind of insecure and wanted the attention and wanted the validation from somebody else other than his wife. And
attention and validation.
Yeah, and I mean, honestly, he probably could have been doing this to plenty of other girls.
I'm confident he was.
Yeah. So
well, because you were far enough away, he could have been meeting other girls all along.
Yep.
Well, wow. I just think it's important to say for people who have been through this, and also for their kids. I think a lot of people probably find out about someone doing this to either them as the partner, them as the spouse, them as the family. It's not about you. It's not that you are not enough. It's that nothing is enough. And it's so much
nothing
more
is
about
ever
them, because I feel like the initial thought as a wife of someone whose husband is doing this would just be like, you would immediately blame yourself, think, what did I do wrong? And it's so
I wasn't enough.
It's so unfortunate because you putting it like there's a drug that they are just feeding off of this. It's not about any of you. And I hope that nobody feels that they're at fault or that they did something that caused this. I'm sure it's a long healing journey.
It is a long healing journey. And what from my personal experience, and I'm on the back nine of life. But it's, I don't trust myself to make good decisions in that department anymore. I have not dated since, and this has been years. And that's okay. It's okay. And for me, the message is be cautious with your heart, be cautious with yourself, because it is a shattering that I obviously cannot articulate.
Have you tried dating but couldn't bring yourself to trust anybody, or have you just not wanted to go there
I think I've gone on, I've tried going out to dinner. I end up getting up in the middle, paying for the whole entire bill and leaving.
Really? Because you're just not ready to get hurt again.
It's very triggering.
It's painful. It's so painful.
I wish I could say I'm hurt. It's not, I'm hurt. It's just, I can't, dating is one thing. It's getting out of it or finding out something that I'm getting like thinking about it now. And again, I'm not emotional about it. And I really wasn't emotional about it at the time. It was just if you look at it as a business decision, that was a poor business decision. And I decided to exit that business.
Well, it's traumatizing a little bit.
Yeah. 100%.
There's always that anticipation of it. Oh, when's the other shoe going to drop? When's it going to happen? And then you're like, because it happened before. And Kelly, you said you're scared to date now, right? Is that what?
Yeah.
I actually since then got married and divorced. No.
Married and divorced. Yeah. Oh no! What happened?
Caroline and I both jumped up and then went pout.
That's some more juicy story if you want to hear it.
It's your call.
Yeah, Molly, are we doing this now or do we need to do a part 2?
Like what? I know. I hope it wasn't another dogfish situation.
So not exactly. We were together for 3 years. We got engaged pretty quickly after we met. We just really clicked. And then we ended up being engaged for over a year before we got married. When we got married, we were married for 3 months, I think. And then I found out that he was cheating on me with a girl that he worked with. Yeah. And I found out, I found a picture on his computer of her in her underwear in the backseat of my car. That's how I found out.
That bitch want to ride backseat in my car? Girl, you in my Porsche?
Yes. So
no.
I know. Bad luck. But I found out. I confronted him about it. He did try to, of course, say, nope, that was some girl that my friend was hooking up with, whatever. And I was like, no, that's not how it works. So then, he finally admitted it, and he then came home and was like, I just don't want to be married anymore. Like, excuse me? So 3 months in, he's like, I don't want to be married anymore. And then I was like, okay, well,
because he got caught.
Exactly. So I moved out. And honestly, I will tell you though, it's been the best thing that's ever happened to me. Ever.
We are all about learning from these because everybody can listen to these stories and just feel less alone, because that's one thing we've learned from having this podcast already is that no matter what the details of the story are, the camaraderie from people who have been fucked over is real. Yeah. Talk about that. What are you doing now? What have you learned? What would you give advice to our listeners to? Ugh.
I will say that these people do not pick on wimps. I'm a strong-willed, go-getter, type A personality. I promise you they're not going for that little person that doesn't make a peep, because it is no fun. It's no fun to destroy. So yeah, absolutely. Exactly, Mackenzie. It is. And when you realize that, it's like, wow, my superpower of confidence, my superpower of, I have self-worth, plenty of it. And that's what got me in this mess. After everything settled out, I really just put my head down and went to work. I didn't process it after having had that conversation, that painful conversation with his wife, and actually trying to come to terms and not be horrified with myself for what had happened. And so pulling that backward, getting that all wrapped up and taken care of, was what I worked on the most, is not having those feelings of guilt and shame that I did not earn. Because I'll take any shame. If I earn it, I will own it. But I didn't earn this. I didn't do that.
Completely agree. I think that was my biggest struggle when I did find out, is how the heck did I not pick up on that or pick up on anything? I wasn't upset at all about him. I was out of that situation. I was glad I wasn't the wife. I was glad that I could block him and move on with my life, and I didn't have to stay with someone who had cheated on me with another girl. So me beating myself up about how could this happen to me? But I told myself, I'm just going to get a little sappy on you. But like I said, that was the best thing that has ever happened to me. I've never loved myself more than I love myself now. And I've Yeah.
Hell yeah.
So I've like made changes in my life, like trying to be healthier emotionally, physically, all of those things, and just like really feeling my feelings and letting myself work through those. And honestly, like it was a really shitty situation. I'm really sad that all of my dating history is like that. But moving forward, I just know that I will never let myself be in that situation again, and I will always know my worth and not put up with it.
I resonated when you just said that. I went through a pretty bad breakup like 9-ish months ago. And now looking at myself, I'm so grateful because it did push me to so much positive stuff for me. Like I started with me just like going to I don't know, I just was working out more because I was like, what else am I going to do? And also like when you go to hot Pilates, like no one can tell you're crying because everyone's sweating, like I just was like, I'll just work out all the time. But then it just became, it's been a beautiful, anyone going through something bad, I know it feels like this is the end of the world, but it is an opportunity to like find so much love and pride in yourself.
Yeah.
Oh, I'm going to cry.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's, like you said, like there's a reason and a season when people are in your life, and like when they're not there, like who else are you going to talk to? Like work on yourself, like start pouring into you instead of trying to find someone else to pour into.
And actually, like the whole entire situation kind of led me to like a passion, because I have worked with like the special investigations unit at my job to and
do you think did this lead you to that? Like you were like, listen, I want to look into people.
100%.
That's amazing. See, things happen for a reason, you guys.
Honestly, and
That's
anyone
awesome.
else,
good for you.
Anyone else who's listening that has that skill from whatever way that you got it, I think we all get there in our own way. Man, that's so weirdly beautiful. I love it.
And I love that it's turned into a passion. Like it's an actual passion that you get to do every day. That's really cool. That's the best part.
I'm going to call you.
Amazing.
If Mackenzie's asleep, I'm calling you.
Thank you guys so much for being here. Oh my gosh, it's been so good to talk to you guys. Thank you for sharing your story. I'm kind of just blown away. Like, and the similarities, the parallels are really like just crazy to me. And there's like, you guys can't be the only ones. Like if you're just two that have heard of the dating detectives, and there's got to be millions out there who have not, that are still just floating around all willy-nilly, just not like they're just existing. It blows my mind. But thank you guys so much. It's so nice to meet you.
Just anything we didn't ask you, or final thoughts about each other's situations or yours?
What would you share with each other about your situations?
Oh my gosh. Well, Kelly just knocked it out of the park. I mean, I'm over here like a fish flopping on the beach.
Stop that.
But it's true. But she really was
a hot
proactive.
Fish. I'll have you know, she's a gorgeous fish,
girl. But no, I have to say congratulations for not backing down and taking yourself seriously. It's super encouraging to hear that, and I don't know, I'm super impressed. It's a horrific situation to find yourself in, and really amazing.
I appreciate it. And I think Hannah said it best when she said, trust but verify. That is the golden rule.
I said that, you guys. It was me.
Sorry.
That.
It was Mackenzie. Give her that credit. That was a good one.
Okay, so how are you feeling after that roller coaster?
I mean, I did go on a roller coaster because there were moments where I was really excited by how they've grown from that. But I think it is easy to hear these stories and feel empowered, but also like it's such a bummer that this happens.
Yeah, it's a lot. But one thing that really stuck with me was when Caroline was talking about how this happens to very strong people. Like strong people can be the victims also. They can be who these people go after. But being a strong person is also what helps you move forward and learn from it better. And then what Kelly said about working on yourself after something like that and just learning from it. And I think those are two really great points.
Our producer, Molly, just said the most perfect thing. That having this information and hearing these stories shouldn't make you more scared to date, but less scared to date because of how you can take that lesson, take those stories, take the community of other people who have been through maybe what you've been through. And like, I don't know, now we're more aware.
Yeah. Like you don't learn from the experiences of others and really just try to just keep that in the back of your mind when you're dating of the things that can go wrong. And I hate to say like, don't trust anybody, but also trust but verify. Just keep it close to your vest and just really, kind of maybe do a little bit of research if you have to.
Like maybe like a lot of research.
Maybe a little
like,
bit, maybe a lot. It's fine. We need to get okay. I'm gonna email
been verified
and be like, do you guys want to sponsor us? Because we will hype you like for real. I think it's great to do.
Also, so trust but verify. We're all obsessed with it. We want it on merch. We have more merch ideas. If y'all have anything that you think we should put on merch, you should tell us. We want like Femtuition merch. We want Dogfish. We want Dating Detectives.
Just communicate with us. Let us know what you're wanting for merch because we want to give back to you from the Dating Detectives.
We also want hats. All right, we're just like little material girls. We just want all of it.
Well, it's fun, right? Anyways, if you have a story yourself that you want to share with us, email us at investigate@datingdetectivepod.com. And also be sure to stay in touch with us on Instagram.
Dating Detectives Podcast. That's the Instagram. I just had to double check. Dating Detectives Podcast.
Yeah, don't forget to share with a friend and give us a review on wherever you listen to your podcast. We'd really appreciate it. We would love to grow Dating Detectives and really reach more women and just really encourage the growth in this community, in the dating community, and just really anyone.
This was a good one. I really love both of them a lot. If anybody wants to date them and not screw them over, I'm like ready to. They deserve it.
But you have to go through me first also. Okay.
Oh, yeah. Of course. All right. Anything else, Mackenzie?
No. Let's sign it off.
Okay. Well, I'll see you next week. Goodbye, my dating detective.
Goodbye, my armchair sleuth.